Hokies.
Tonight from Castle Coliseum, 111-79, Virginia Tech gets the win, beats Detroit Mercy. All right, Coach, game number one. Give us the overall takeaways that you took to your team after this game.
I thought we did some good things. Typical first game issues. I think the adjustments that we've tried to make defensively are the right adjustments. Our execution level of those adjustments were in spurts. We need to be able to execute better, more consecutively. I thought too many of our turnovers were trying to do too much too early. Some of that's to be expected because of what was happening in the game, because it was the first game, because there's 7 new players. I thought we did some good things. I think what it'll come down to for us is the same thing that it has continued to come down to over the last year and a half is, can we finish the possession with a defensive rebound? And can we get our turnover rate really, really low? Because our offense and what we're trying to do is pretty good as long as we get a shot attempt. And so I thought there were some good things. I didn't think 5 played very well. I thought 5 started out really well as far as the pace. But I also think 5's heart is to try to help everybody get going. And that's just part of what we're going to go through over probably the next month.
A couple of different guys I want to ask you about, but overall, I know you really challenged their competitiveness coming into this game, making sure the energy and the intensity to start the season was there. How did you feel like they rose to the challenge with that challenge?
I think they're really good kids. And they may be too good of kids for me to coach, to be honest. I think the intent of their heart is right. I think they want to do right. I think they care about one another. They're incredibly respectful to our staff and what we're trying to do from a coaching lens. I do think that when you have so many new pieces that we've got to figure out what our identity can be. And the first part of our identity has to be we play really hard, we try really hard, and we play for one another. And then once you kind of establish that, I think you can go to the next layers of what you have to have. But I thought at times last week against South Carolina, I thought we tried really hard. I'm still disappointed in Bibbs. So that's a piece that has not been injected into this mix. I'm trying to do right relative to Chris's progress, what the doctor is asking, how he is progressing physically. So there are still some moving parts like every other team at this time of the year. But when 7 of those guys are brand new with those moving parts, it's a little bit topsy-turvy, particularly with the adjustments that we've made defensively. But I do think that they try hard, and I think that's a great first step.
I did want to ask you about Chris Clark coming back from that ACL injury. It's interesting. You step back from our perspective. It doesn't look like he's limited in any sort of way. I know you're keeping his minutes down. How did you feel like his first game went? Is there things out there that he's limited with?
No, it's he's cleared relative to he can do whatever.
Sure.
We're just still trying to monitor the amount of minutes and the wear and tear so we just don't go 0 to 60 too fast. I thought the second time he played in the second half when I subbed him in, I thought he got back to some Chris Clark-esque possessions. Last Saturday we had an abbreviated scrimmage against South Carolina, and I didn't play him. And then he was allowed 15 game minutes on Sunday. We were off on Monday, and then Tuesday was typically that's when his doctor appointment is. And he was cleared relative to go ahead, but we need to monitor the minutes at 20 to 25. So they're keeping me posted on where that is during the game, and I pulled him out at, I think, 9:58. And I said, Chris, I'm going to put you back in. And then I never did, just because of how it played out. And so he's progressing, and I like how he's progressing, and our team needs him. And I think some of this that I've learned, I think it's been 6 years since I've dealt with an ACL. When you get really close to being cleared physically, there's a lot of mental, man, I hope I can play and not get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's just part of it. And you kind of have to work your way through it. And I think because of how we have stayed on top and been on the same page with the Doc, with his mom and the dad, with Ernest, with Jackson, hey, a little bit more this week, a little bit more next week. And I think he's gaining confidence in that, where he's saying, Coach, I'm fine, I'm fine. And that's what you want, right? So.
And still gets a good 18 minutes here tonight for Chris
Yes.
Clark. All right, I know Nickeil Alexander-Walker is just one piece of the whole cog, but what a debut for him tonight. 24 points, does lead the team in scoring. What did you learn about him tonight? What really impressed you about him, or is this exactly what you expected out of the young man?
I don't know that I would have said that he had 24 points in 24 minutes. I think he's a very talented player. I think he's very skilled. Most people that are on the path to an elite level of success, regardless of industry, they go about their business different. And since the first day I met Nickeil, and since the first day Nickeil's been on our campus, he goes about his business different. He goes about how he treats his body different. He goes about the extra reps that he does, not just on the floor, but in the film room. Not just on the floor in the film room, but in the weight room. And he's obviously not just from a talent lens, but because of that, his maturity and his wisdom is not that of a freshman. And we need him.
Sure.
We need him.
Sure.
But I also don't want to ramp up the expectations that he's going to score a point a minute. But he is a very good player.
All right, Coach, I will get you out of here on this question. The same thing I asked you.
Man, you
in the
do so
pregame.
much better job than
It's
Laser
smooth,
and Burnham.
right?
Yeah, I don't even think I've had a hiccup.
No.
Are you guys videoing? Is this going to be on Hokie Vision?
You bet.
Can we clip it up and take me out and just watch what he's doing so Laser and Burnham have a scouting report? Like an edit. Thanks for coming, Laser. We're doing good. I'll see you on Tech Talk Live, and I'll carry you again.
2K Classic benefits the Wounded Warrior Project
Hey,
plus today.
Oh, sorry.
Veterans Day.
Did you see the lady that was here, the Wounded Warrior?
Yes.
At each of these games, not just our games in Blacksburg, but at each of these games representing the 8 teams that are in the tournament, there is a Wounded Warrior that is on site.
Yeah.
And she was able to speak to our team this morning
How about that?
before class. And,
Special.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's different.
Yep.
And that's a different lens. And our kids are like, whoa, I didn't know. I didn't think about that. And, that's what, in the end, I think this is probably supposed to be about. And obviously we're very thankful for all the veterans and their service and what this allows us to do. But then to have one here that was wounded in service, and the proceeds from this help that nonprofit, that's so good.
Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Good to see you. Come whenever you want.
Appreciate it. Final score 111-79. Virginia Tech opens the 2017-18 season with a win over Detroit Mercy. We'll step aside, continue our post-game report in just a moment after these messages.
Hokies!